Hi, my name is Harini, and I'm an incoming freshman at Foothill, and I'm interested in all things STEM.
I'm Ayush. I've been here involved with sampling the Foothill for about a year now, and I've been involved with Cymatics for a few months now, maybe 2 to 3.
And I'm Zach Cembellin, and I am a mathematics instructor here at Foothill College.
Okay, so could both of you tell me a little bit about what Cymatics is?
Yeah, so Cymatics is a way of visualizing audio by having a metal plate and then vibrating it at a frequency you have a metal plate and then you put some sort of granular thing like sand or salt on it, and then you vibrate at a certain frequency, and then it just makes patterns which are just very visually stimulating and just nice to look at. And so that is the way that I find it interesting is just because it connects a lot of, it's very interdisciplinary with how it connects music and physics and math and things like that.
So to be a little more specific, I think what you're describing is the Clotney plate
Yes.
version of cymatics. But in general, cymatics is the study of all waves and vibrations in general. And a branch of that is audio waves. And for what we have here, we like to visualize those audio waves through different means, one of them being a Clotney plate, as you described.
So why was Cymatics decided to be included in ETI?
Well, I guess part of it was just my interest. Honestly, I like to produce music. I'm not a musician per se, but I am well versed in production on the digital level, like using DAWs and whatnot, and various different instruments. And so I had seen a few things online, some videos just by chance, and the ones I saw, they were hooked up to, the Clotney devices were hooked up to actually synthesizers. And I thought that was so beautiful. I mean, my background is mathematics, as I said, and all of that is math. But because I also love music, I thought it was a great way to bridge both of them into one. And I also think that as we move along with this and it progresses, it's a good way to get students over here into our 4200 building and have them explore this stuff. Even if they want to come and just play around with the music, they're going to see that Clotney device right next to it and go, what is that? And then maybe spark some interest in their head and see where the non-STEM side actually merges with the STEM side.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think Cymatics can help students connect physics, math, and art?
So all the waves and everything you see visually is just a representation of just cymatics mathematically. And so honestly, personally, I don't know how to calculate the patterns that show up, but there is a way because it's all based on mathematics and physics. And so I think later on down the line, finding out how to calculate that and just being able to understand at a fundamental level why it makes the patterns that it does would be really interesting for students.
There is some heavy-duty mathematics involved in that, involving partial differential equations with boundary conditions and all this stuff, which is, not something necessarily that's even at this level of education, right? But we can all learn it. I think as you learn more of the sciences and the maths independently, you could probably figure this out as well. I don't even entirely understand all of it. So I think it's really interesting that is actually not the only visualization of sound as well. Other cymatics devices, you can visualize through using gas and fire. You can visualize using water, strings, all kinds of different ones. And I think that's part of the plan here, is to eventually have more types of visualization devices that can be explored in conjunction with the various notes on, say, a synthesizer or really whatever type of musical instrument you want to use.
So I heard there was a Cymatics student club, and you were the advisor of it?
Oh,
I don't
is that
know,
true?
That's what the document says.
Well,
is there a Cymatics club?
Well, at least this past year there was not a Cymatics club. But if that is something that students are interested in forming, then absolutely I would be on board to be the advisor for this club, 100%. That would actually be really fun, I think.
I have a club similar to it, which is like the audio visualization and interpretation project, which
Oh, maybe that's what.
yeah,
Okay.
Maybe that's the club.
it like encompasses Cymatics and also other, because I made it so it's not specific to Cymatics or any one thing. It just happens to do with things which are connected in music and interdisciplinary, but not even just them, but also things like psychology. So right now we are technically a club. We signed up, but we don't really have general meetings or members or things like that yet.
And maybe we could grow in the fall.
So what are some benefits for students to like join the club?
I think it's just a great way to explore any existing projects, any personal projects related to music, because being in a club, I think, first of all, it creates an environment where there are other like-minded students who want to work on similar things as you. And then another thing is resources, because with clubs, you get a certain amount of funding per quarter, per year. So you can use that to kind of work on projects without the burden of feeling like you have to gather resources by yourself, because if you start a project with us, then we'll be able to allocate that for you.
And
I was going to ask where do you feel computer science plays a role
I
in all
think,
of this?
like personally, I think it's extremely useful. Like I personally created a simulation of Cymatics, which was really interesting just because I use this software called Max MSP, which I had never used before. But it's generally used for things like audio visualization and interfacing music and audio with computer science. And so just exploring that and other things, I think it's really useful for computer science students just because it's such a different way of working with things compared to just like traditional just coding something.
Right. Cool.
so I heard there was a Cymatics exhibition at both Possible Self and the physics show. Could both of you tell me a little bit about what the exhibit was?
Yeah. So I wasn't there during the physics show, but during Possible Self, I was manning the station. And so Possible Self was an event here, which mostly catered to elementary school kids that age.
Middle school too.
Yeah. And so it was basically, we just had a booth set up where kids could come and play with the function generator to see what type of patterns they could make. And I think it was really nice for Cymatics just because it's such a hands-on thing and such a visual thing that even if you don't understand all the complicated math behind it, you can still find value out of it and you can still find it interesting and just entertaining.
Yeah. I think that, I saw it firsthand, a lot of the kids exploring with the devices, and I even had some different colored sands, like green sand and stuff like this, to get them interested. But to see them see the different patterns, I think it's just a natural, innate thing that as a human being, you can recognize that is an interesting, patterns that it develops. And in the same vicinity, we actually had a separate Cymatics exhibit, which was close by to our Clotney device, where a student of ours she coded her own algorithm to hook up with the MIDI in a synthesizer, and then connected to a computer, which projected onto a screen. And as you played the different keys on the synthesizer, different patterns of light would come up on the screen. Another way to visualize sound, right? Cymatics. So, it's not limited to just the Clotney device, but we did have the Clotney and that student project set up for students and really their parents as well to explore.
And was there a exhibit at the physics show?
That I am not aware of. Yeah, I usually go to the physics show once a year with my kids, But this didn't exist yet when we went to the physics show last year, so it's hard to say.
Okay. Was there an exhibit at STEM Mentors?
Which event was STEM Mentors?
That was Possible Self.
That was possible?
Yeah,
Okay.
STEM Mentors was our partnership to produce
Okay.
Possible Self. Yeah.
Do both of you have anything else to add about Cymatics or motivate students to come check out the lab?
I think the best thing we could do is just show them.
Yeah, get the word out that it exists, right? Because
Yeah.
how it's just over here in the corner, which we'll show here shortly, actually a demonstration of this, but not many people are going to know that this thing's just sitting in a corner of a room somewhere. So I think as we get the word out, and even if people just want to play around with some beats and whatnot on their computer, right? They're welcome to do that. Get them in this building and exposed to STEM related projects we have going on for ETI. I think is going to go a long way.
Sounds good.